All right, so what we're going to do, we're going to kind of go through today really the 5 unique ways to find listings. I'm going to put some spin on some different things that maybe you've heard in the past. Obviously, don't discount the old school way of doing things, calling expires, calling FSBOs. That stuff works, but what I want to do is I want to put a twist on this and give you some new, maybe a little bit different than maybe you've heard of before, ways to do this. And one of the ways I want to start with is number 1 is unsolicited video CMAs. Now, this is something that I did last year, and what I'm talking about is it's taking the people that you know that own property, maybe you sold to in the past, maybe that you know are owners that you've met in an open house, or maybe it's something when you've been out there and you just know people that have certain houses that maybe they would want to know their value. Everybody wants to know their value. The market's gone up, everybody's curious about their value. This is a way to really do this. And what I did last year, I'm going to give you kind of the plan of action that I did last year and how this works, is I took and I started, here we are, when we're recording this, October 1st, right? We are literally first day of the fourth quarter. We're heading into the home stretch. And so how do we get to a place where we run through the tape at the end of the year and then start the next year off with a bang? Well, what I did last year, before I came into this position, is I made a list of all the sellers and owners that I had. Now, a lot of them would be in one certain neighborhood, so it wasn't as hard for me to go on and to actually go on and get a valuation, some of the sales that have happened, recording my screen. I'm going to show you how I did that in just a second. And then I would send these unsolicited CMAs out to these folks, just an updated value with a range, not exact, and just saying, hey, here's what's sold, here's where's there, here's where your house, the range is where it is probably now. If you're curious about the current value, or you want to know what the market would actually bring, be glad to take a look inside and give you an idea. I did 71 of those in the last quarter last year. Now, that sounds like a lot, but there's 90 days, y'all. So literally I would take, and I broke it down where I was doing 2 or 3 a day, 5 days a week, and I did it for that last quarter. Yes, we're still busy now, but there's going to be days here as we head into the end of the year where it is going to slow down in our market. It's just natural, right? So what do you do with that time to best set the table for next year? And this is what I did. I did 71 of them, and in between the time that I started and the end of the first quarter, I listed $11.4 million worth of property from that strategy. Okay? So what I'm telling you is, I'm going to tell you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. If you'll get out there and let these folks know, and some of them were people that would say, no, I'm not now, I'm summertime. No, I'm not now, but thanks for the information. Appreciate you keeping me in touch. It just gets that communication going. And we all know there's a certain number of trends. If you have these conversations, sooner or later you're going to find somebody that's wanting to sell, or that's going to give you a timeline when they are. So let me show you all how to do this. And I'm going to just kind of record the screen. I'm going to pull this up on the screen up here and really start kind of going through this. I'm going to use this, as far as your list, who do you know that owns a house? Who in your own neighborhood? Who of your neighbors? You want to start there. Before we started recording, it's like Tommy said, the worst feeling in the world is when you have one of your 2 or 3 door down houses, one of your neighbors go ahead and list with somebody else. So what I want to do is I want to put these things together and show you how to do this. Couple of tools. In reality, everybody wants to be able to look at it on their own time. So recording your screen and sending these CMAs, it saves you time because you don't ever know when you can get somebody and with on the phone. And also in our market, it's difficult to catch people when they're in town. So a lot of our people are out of town. So how do we do this? First off, if you've got BombBomb, you can record your screen there. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to use something called Use Loom. It's a free app, useloom.com, and then when I click recording and I'm going to share, it's going to give me a countdown. You can do it where you've got your picture on the bottom there, or you've got your face if you're wanting to talk directly to them. But what this Use Loom does is it gives you the ability to prep before you go. So I'll give you an example, and I'm going to use Beechwood Villas in this because not many people are in that area. I've got another story. Listen, the last point that I'm going to make is probably the most powerful one. So the number 5 that we're going to get to, I'm going to come back to this and circle back to this. But I just want to use this as an example. All I did was I pulled up everything that's active and sold for 3 bedrooms in that condo. I did it for the last 6 months, okay? So if I were sitting here now and I were going to record this for one of the people that has a 3-bedroom in there, somebody that I knew, I would come in and I would show them basically this way. I would go through and I would say, okay, we've got a few outliers. We have one that sold for $294,500 6 months ago. We have one that sold for $360,000. In reality, we've got one that's for sale for $368,000. This one was way high as far as all the amenities, but if you look right here, we've got a nice little pocket that shows where the values are. So it's very easy for me then to go in. One of the tricks that I do though that kind of makes it look a little more high tech is I'll either have this pulled up on the screen where I could show them kind of the aerial portion on either the property appraiser's office, or you want to go real high tech, because I'm like a high tech redneck and stuff, right? That's what somebody told me with my accent. So when you look at this, you can actually use Google Earth. You just type the address in. What's cool about this is so if I'm sitting there and I'm recording this valuation and I know that they are in this building right here, for instance, that I'm going to do this for, I can point things out. I can come in and say, as you know, here's Beechwood Villas. Your place is in building 10. These comparables that sold, you can see some of them that sold in building 14. I can pull it back up. I know you probably know this, but building 14 is right here, not on the pool, not as valuable. I can show them these things. You want to get real creative, you click this 3D and it starts putting it in motion while you're talking to them. So it really, and then you can pause it a little more and just bring it back up. Just shows, something different than anybody. This is the stuff that will catch people's eye. And so we're giving them some value here by doing this. They may or may not. We know in our markets, depending on where you are in our markets, that the average time frame right now is running about 4 years, between 4 and, depending on some of the longer markets, 7 years of rotation of properties. Now that's an average. Some of them will be shorter and some will be longer. But if you're doing this on a quarterly basis, and what I did is I actually put it in there where every quarter I had them on my calendar, updated CMA. And if I knew I was going to do, for instance, for me, if I knew I was going to do watercolor and I had 8 watercolor owners, I would do all the watercolor owners in one day, because I would have the same comparables for the most part. So it's not like you've got to do all of this each individual one. A lot of times you can group these. With Beechwood Villas, for instance, I had 8 owners in there. I could do one video for 8 owners. It was very easy to do because it was the same floor plan. With houses and neighborhoods, you just want to find if there's same floor plans, if there's something similar, you just wanted to use that. But this is a great way to really kind of get something together for people and just show them something in valuation. If you do these, you will, I'm just telling you because it's, if you do these, you will get results. Okay, so this is a great way. These are some that if you do enough of them, you're going to find somebody immediately. Funny that you sent this to me. We're curious right now. Can you go take a look? The other ones, it's going to take time. I had one that I'm listing next month. Y'all, I had made a solicitation call for real estate in 4 months. And one of these owners, because I would consistently done this, I'd sent these updates every quarter, called it's a come list me. They know the value that I'm giving them. So I would just encourage you, make your list of these folks. Do these unsolicited video CMAs. If any of you want me to walk you through and show you how to do the first one, I'll be glad to do that, okay? Because listen, I know it can be a little daunting. You're like, I could never do that. You can. It's not that hard. I'll be glad to sit down and do the first one with you, okay? So that's the first thing. Number 2 is I want to do a little twist on FSBOs, okay, and for sale by owners, because that's a market that it works if you work it. But let me just kind of show you a little bit different area where not everybody's hitting, and maybe some other areas, and that's to go to the Zillow Make Me Move. Are y'all familiar with this, the Zillow Make Me Move? So I'm going to just pull Zillow up on the screen here. So when you come on the Zillow screen right here, if you punch in, and I'm just going to use, just for this, 32459, just Santa Rosa Beach, okay? I'm going to pull this up, and when I pull this up here, it's going to show a couple of things. It's going to give us the ability to listing type. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all these for sale, all of this off. I'm going to take all of these off, and I'm just going to go to Make Me Move. All right, and so what we're looking at right here is there are 8 places, and it will show you on the map here, the 8 places where the seller has come in here and said, listen, it's not the for sale by owner typical. I will move if you will pay me this, okay? Now a lot of times what will happen is their Zillow estimate or Zestimate, what they think it's worth, is completely different from what the Zestimate is. Look at this right here, $459,000, they want $950,000. You're going to have to weed through some of these to figure out which ones are worth your time. But listen, these are people that are raising their hand and saying, I will sell. I will sell to the right person, okay? So how do you go about these? I'm not going to go deep into that today because we're going to cover a lot of ground, but if you want to, I did this just to check for you guys. If you go to YouTube and you just enter, because listen, there's no reason for us to ever say we can't do something anymore. Because you can go to YouTube, and I did this last night on this, because I've never done this. I've heard of people doing this, but I want to share some other things with you. And you just punch in how to market to Make Me Move on Zillow. I pulled it up, there were 1,000 videos of people telling me how to do that, okay? So if you're curious about something or you find a niche like this is a great way to find those listings, okay? Just a great place. You're talking about sellers doing unsolicited CMAs, you're not sure if you know any owners? Here's your place to start. And what's great about it too is is, some of the times, and we're going to go through and talk about how to find phone numbers and email addresses in just a little bit. For more information, there's your guy's phone number right there. It tells you. It gives you your phone number, who to call, okay? So those are a great place. One more thing while we're over here, because a lot of times what can happen, I know we're in a very strong rental market right now. That's not always the case, but if you will look, there are 31 places for rent in Santa Rosa Beach right now. These are great places because odds are this will tell you how many days this has been on here. It will tell you if it's a property. Some people will get tired of the rental deal, of fielding questions and getting all of this, and it's a great time to send them an unsolicited CMA or to pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, we just sold a house in this neighborhood. Do a little research. Find out if there's been sales. This is a great place for you to start if you're going to be farming for listings. Because a lot of these people that are renters, they're doing this, one of two things. Either they're tired of renting and they're trying to rent something they haven't been able to, so maybe they're open to selling, or they've got a bunch of rentals, and then when you talk to them, they say, no, we actually own 5 of them. Great, are you looking for more? Gives you an opportunity. Now you found you a qualified buyer and say, well, listen, why don't I set this up? I got an automated plan that I can set up that will send you every time something new comes on the market, meeting whatever your criteria are. So you can use this for a couple of different ways, but use Zillow to your advantage. I know Judy's had a ton of success with Zillow. We've got a lot of agents that have a ton of success with Zillow. These are a twist on the for sale by owners. This is a twist on paying for leads from them, where you can actually use their system to get some information on some of those. Okay, so those are a couple different ways. So number one is unsolicited video CMA. Some of this stuff's going to come together, and so with that in mind, now I want to switch to number 3, which is I want to do a little twist on expireds. Okay, everybody knows that when something hits the expired, that there's going to be a ton of calls to people from agents asking them to call them for expires. It works if you work it. I'm not going to discount that. But let me show you a little different way. Another way is to go in and figure out everything that has been expired for the last 6 months to 2 to 3 years. Okay? So when you do that research, when you pull up and you go into your search and you do expired and you put the dates in, when you do that now, those people that have been 6 months, odds are they're not getting calls anymore. Odds are the people have stopped following up if they haven't listed yet. Perfect opportunity to reach out to those folks. The way that I try to do the research on this is I'll punch the address into Flex, and I'll try to pull up that address and see all the listings. Because if it has been relisted and sold, it'll show it to you in there. If it's actively listed now, it'll show it in there. If it's pending, it'll show it. But that's going to give you a history of kind of that place. When you find these places, especially in this market, somebody that was overpriced a year ago, a year and a half ago especially, whatever, because if their house didn't sell, it was price. I mean, you could be the worst market in the world, but if you price something right now with the internet, it's going to sell. I mean, the information gets out there. So odds are it was price. The market has been moving towards them. Easy conversation to have with those folks. You may be surprised. The value may even be worth more than what you had it listed for and didn't sell for before. Are you curious? Would you like for me to put this together for you? It's an easy call to make, okay? So I would just check on those. Check on that stuff. Some of the stuff that you can use as far as finding phone numbers. Also, I want to give y'all some resources there because we've all got different things. I did this a little bit ahead of time, but I wanted to show you this because I used you, Rachel, because I knew you were going to be here. If you need somebody's phone number and you've got a name and you know where they live, so in the property appraiser's website, for instance, if I had pulled it up and let's say Rachel owned it in Santa Rosa Beach, so I'm thinking her phone number is 850. She's in that area code, right? If I go to Google and I do a Google search, let me just go back. If I go to Google and I do Rachel Hutchings.
Oh no, you might find some bad stuff.
I pref this just to make sure. And I put in the area code. Google's job is to take what you give it and find the rest, okay? So if I punch in Rachel Hutchings 850 and I do this, look at this right here. Is that your cell phone number?
Let's see.
84292.
Yeah.
See? Mm-hmm. It pops it up. Looking for an office number? Here's her office number. All of these things. So this is a way to kind of use the system to your advantage. Punch in the name or all the information you have. If they're in Atlanta, try the Atlanta area codes. I mean, you know which ones, or just pull up on Google. If it says they're in Alpharetta, Georgia, pull up Alpharetta, Georgia, the area code, and then punch that in, their name and then that area code. Okay, Google will do a lot of this work for you, but it's a quick, easy way to find some of these. Also, you can use places like LinkedIn is great. For a lot of our people are business owners or CEOs or whatever it is that own these vacation properties. check LinkedIn. If you get a LinkedIn, you can get a premium membership. It'll give you all their information. It'll give you their email address, their phone number, everything that they put on there. So use LinkedIn. It's a great resource for that as well. Some of the things that are paid are like Spokio, Intellus, Land Voice. Cole Realty Resource is probably the Cadillac of all of this, and could run you as much as $1,000 a month, but it'll get you everything you want. Email addresses, phone numbers, everything you want, okay? So that's out there. It just depends on the level. I wouldn't start with that. I would start with the others. But, and it's just like we've talked about before. Building this business, there's two ways to do it. Either sweat or debt. You know what I mean? You're either going to put the work in, or you can go out there and you can buy these resources. Depends on where your situation is. Yeah, Sabrina?
So what did you say after Spokio and Intellus?
Intellus. There's also Land Voice.
Okay.
And then Cole Realty Resource. There's a number of these other places out there, but these are a couple of them that'll kind of get you started. One thing I would say on some of these expireds right now that's been working for a few people that I've been implementing with a couple of agents is doing a 7-day off-market listing. And what this means is put yourself together a program basically called our off-market program, or whatever you want to name it. Give it something flashy, like launching, 7-day launch or sales launch or whatever it is. Go to them. They may not want to list it because they don't know you, and say, listen, I've got a 7-day free trial basically where you can see. We don't have to put it on the MLS. But it gives me the opportunity to potentially see if we can find a seller. Worst case scenario, you're going to get feedback from the market. These are some of the things. And what I try to do is do a daily task that I'm communicating to that seller if they want to do this. It would be, first day is I'm going to get a flyer made. So I'm going to take some photos. I'm going to have one of our flyers made. I'm going to send information to a group of agents. That could be through our in-house Facebook page, the BPFLA, the BHHS, BPFLA one. Yeah. Judy?
I had something that worked with Zillow. Do you guys ever use that Zillow app where it's Premier? You go into the Zillow Premier app for you as an agent.
Right.
And you do a live video of their listing.
Yes.
And then it shows you all the views.
That's right. It tells you who looked at it.
And you get a way more visibility than other listings.
Absolutely.
It shoots you up on the Zillow ranking.
The other thing with doing something like that also is if you've got a place that you're selling in a neighborhood, go ahead and punch in. If you go onto Flex and you do reverse prospecting, it's going to tell you all the agents that have clients that they've got a search set up for a property like that. So what does good with that is now you can tell that person, I want to do in this 7-day launch, I know of, based on my criteria, that in the MLS, I've got 24 agents that have clients that are searching for a property like yours. So I'm not just going to market it to my database, I'm going to reach out to that group, But you really have to have a listing to be able to do that. So it may be a listing from somebody else in the company that or it may be, something like that. But utilize that. Always what I tried to do is I always tried to go in before I closed something out while it was still active and do a reverse prospecting. I was trying to build that database of agents that had people in that price range. Because if we're doing our job right, odds are when we list the next one, it's going to be similar in that neighborhood because one should lead to another. Then obviously we're going to have that list of people that are out there that we can market to as far as other agents. So with that 7-day plan though, let me just kind of wrap that up. The 7-day plan really gives you the capability to earn the business. If you show them every day, today I am going to send an email out to 34 agents that have buyers looking like yours. Today I'm going to post it to 120 agents in our company to let them know about it. Tomorrow I'm going to hold an open house. Man, why wouldn't you hold an open house if you could? I mean, you get the exposure, you get the potential of somebody coming in, meeting buyers. Do those types of things. Then the next day you're going to talk about, well, now I'm going to do whatever. You make your list. 7 days you're communicating. Here's what happened today. Listen, I'll go by there. In this room, we could all go by if you get one. And we'll give cards on what our thoughts are, what could be improved, pricing where it should be, all of that kind of feedback. And then you can scan that, email it to the seller. You're showing your value. And then at the end of the 7 days, if you don't sell it, because listen, in this market, odds are if you get it priced right, you may sell it in 7 days. But if you don't, at the end of 7 days, what you've done is you've done two things. Number one, it's a real easy conversation to say, this is what we do in 7 days without having it where when you list with us, it hits 100 websites instantly. This is what we do in 7 days without having our marketing team put together all of these, all of the marketing flyers and the presentations and social media and all this stuff. So you do it that way, you've earned the right to potentially get that business, okay? So you set yourself apart. And also, now you've got somebody that you put in that if they don't sell it, and they're going to sell it sometime, they're in your 3-month rotation on your unsolicited CMAs. You're giving them updates, and they're just getting queued every 3 months, okay? So that's a great way to really kind of do a twist on some of the expireds. Finding ones that nobody else is calling right now. Everybody's calling. If one hit today, odds are they're going to get 40 calls this morning. 6 months from now, they're probably not getting any calls. So it's a really great place to kind of go in and really start finding a different market to meet up with, okay? Let me record my screen again real quick because I want to show y'all this. So that's the first couple. Number 1 is the unsolicited CMAs. Number 2 is kind of doing the Zillow Make Me Move in the rentals there. Number 3 is the expired 6 months to 3 years or in that range. And now number 4 is circle prospecting systems. Do y'all know what circle prospecting systems are? Anybody know what that is? All right, so what that whole program is it's basically taking a listing that sells, or you can do it with a house that comes on the market in a neighborhood that maybe hasn't had something in a while. Because what we know is historically speaking, if a house goes on the market or it sells, odds are another one's going to come up with it for sale within the next 3 months, okay? So a lot of our out-of-town owners are out of town. So with that in mind, they don't necessarily have all the information they need or want. So what we want to do is we want to actually be able to reach out to those folks. So let's talk about this. If we go on here, I'm going to share this real quick and kind of talk about how to do this. So let's say that we're finding these and we're going to do this. What I did is I've got a copy of this physically here for you guys. But what you would do is you would basically take that house and you would make a circle around it of the houses that are 10 to 15, 20, whatever it is, 50 houses that are around that house when a new listing comes on. Okay? Doesn't necessarily have to be your listing. Doesn't necessarily have to be your sale because we're in a part of the market where a lot of people are not doing the business where they're doing just listed and just sold. So you may be the one that sends this out, okay? This is a letter that was actually put together by a real estate trainer. I'm drawing a blank on who it was. I've had this for a little while. I can send this in an email to you guys. But what's great about this is this is a letter to do. Now, I would say this is a letter that you would want to, if you've got an assistant, have them do it or do it yourself. I did a lot of them hand addressed myself. Hand address them with a stamp. Don't run them through. Make it more personal. Those are the ones that are going to get open. And it's very, very low key, okay? This wording is pretty critical, okay? So this is out to the people that are around a place that's come on the market just recently, in the last couple of days, or is just recently sold, okay? I'm not sure we've ever met in person, so you get that, it's making it personal. But I wanted to make sure you're aware that your neighbor's house at whatever address just went up for sale, or just sold, if you're doing a sold campaign, just went up for sale for $1 million, whatever the price is. More importantly, though, this has changed the value of your home. It could have moved it up or down. We don't know. But, what does everybody hear? I mean, if somebody tells me my value's changed, I'm assuming it's gone up. And it probably has in this market, right? But we haven't promised them that. It's, that. And then the last thing I would ever want to do is bother you with worthless information, but I'm also aware that when a house goes up for sale in a neighborhood, house is sold, usually others want to know their value of their home as well. If you're one of those people and like to know how your value has changed, and doesn't want to have to pay to find out, or waste your time with inaccurate online property valuation estimates, please don't hesitate to contact me at your earliest convenience. I would love the opportunity to serve you without you having to feel any obligation in return. You can call me or email me and I'll be sure to get you whatever you need. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Pretty soft. I mean, if I got that letter, that letter is not, we just sold, we're the best. It's, how can I help you? And that's where we want to come from. This is a great place to get this started, okay? The critical part of this is don't just send this letter. You gotta call them and just follow up. Hey, I don't know if you saw this. It's a real easy call. I don't know if you saw this, I don't know if you got my letter, but the house 4 doors down just sold, and it's changed the values. And just wanted to make sure we're letting all the neighbors know. Just wanted to make sure that you knew about it. And odds are, typically in a typical place, one house within 20 doors either side is probably going to go on the market within the next 6 months. We just wanted to check in and see if you're curious about your value, if you'd like for us to give it to you. It's real soft, right?
Can we get a copy of that?
Yeah, I got you a copy already printed. And also, when you get this video, you can pause it right here and copy it that way. Or if you want me to send you the Word file, I can send the Word file to you where you can do it that way, okay? So just let me know when we get done, okay,
Okay.
Judy? But, you know, and if you're worried about making calls to people, you can always, you're really not selling, you're not soliciting a sale, but if you feel like you want to make sure and you're just, you know, you're worried all the time about stuff, you can always take and go over and kind of get the information from, what is it, the donotcall.gov, if you want to get phone numbers run through there and check and make sure they're not on the do not call. But really, if you're going in from a place that you're trying to add value, which is where we should always be coming from, then a lot of times you're not going to offend that person, okay? So it's the bang, bang, bang is what drives them crazy, okay? So that's kind of a great way to kind of spin that stuff. Make sure, this is a great way, an easy way for you to get started, is a targeted neighborhood. Your neighborhood. Be the neighbor that's letting everybody know, you know, what those values are. So that gives you that. That's number 4. The 5th one is digital farming. Okay, now let me just tell y'all what this is. You know, it can get very expensive, but it works to send mailers. But now, there's a new way to do this, okay? And I'm telling y'all because this is something that I did in my own business. I'm going to tell you what happened. I had a listing over in Beechwood Villas. I showed y'all that a little bit earlier, right? And so over in Beechwood Villas, when I was doing that, I had this listing. Well, one of the owners called me that I had this listing on and said, hey, she sent me an email. And she said, I just got an email from the HOA, and they are paving the parking lot, and so they're telling us these dates. Well, I look at the email. They had not blind copied the names and email addresses. So it was owner name, email address, unit number.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I'm not telling y'all to do anything.
God.
But it was, it just literally, I took it, I put it in MailChimp, and all I did was I started doing these monthly updates on what had sold in the neighborhood. You can do them with video in MailChimp. You can do them wherever. In the next 18 months, I sold 6 places in there with 0 marketing dollars spent. All I did was I took that mailing list, digitally farmed it. All I did is every month I gave them, here's what's sold, here's what's active, could be a great time to sell. If you're curious about your value, give me a call. Sometimes I would go out there and I would take a video and I would be standing in front of the pool there. They all recognize it, so it's personalized. And I would do the video in front of the pool and I'd say, hey, here's your market update for this month. There are no 3 bedrooms for sale. We sold one 2 months ago. This one sold a month ago. Values are up. If you're curious about your value, just let me know. Also, did you happen to see the new paint they put on the side of the buildings? And I'd pan up there and show the paint. And then I would just send it out and say, hey, thanks for letting me be your resource in Beechwood Villas. All I did. Put it on there in MailChimp, send it out to them. You know, so it's very easy to do that. The next thing, the biggest thing is finding where you want to do this. So where do you start? I would say start with your own neighborhood. First off, you know the people, you know the neighborhood, nobody knows it better than you. If you're not comfortable with that, you don't want to do business where you live, first off, you probably ought to get over that. But secondly, if you don't want to do that, then find somewhere that has some turnover, okay? We're going to go through farming in more detail in the coming weeks, but find a place that has rotation, you know, that there's places that are selling. Find a place that doesn't have a dominant agent, somebody that's doing over 20% of that business in that neighborhood or in that condo complex. And then also be looking for a price point that you're trying to target. Okay, so once you've found that place, there's a couple of ways that you can go out and you can get these mailing lists. Okay, there are a couple places. First off, did you know? Any of y'all know about Fiverr.com? Fiverr.com. You know about Fiverr? You can get anything done in the world for $5 on Fiverr. You can literally because it's being outsourced all over the world. So a guy in India, right now, we're testing this. If you want to know about this, we're testing it right now because we have a list that we know the numbers, and we know the email addresses, and we're testing all that. So with that in mind, what we're doing is we're coming in there and we've set this, and we just went to the property appraiser's office, we took that neighborhood, and if you go in there and you do, like for instance, if you do something like this, let me go back and see if I can do this. So if I come back in here, and this is, for this instance, this is this neighborhood, this is Beechwood Villas. If I do print mailing labels, and I just come in, this is going to move really slow because all this stuff I got open, but and then I click here to print. When I do that, it's going to give me basically all of these names and addresses. Go to Fiverr. I can get you the guy that we're working with once we get confirmation, but you can try anybody. And so literally we sent him one for an email list of, I don't know, hundreds of people. It was like $85 for him to get us all the email addresses. Now, it took him about 7 days. But the stamps to send your first mailer would be more than $80 to that group. The envelopes, the printing, all of that. I just mentioned to you, like with Beechwood Villas, I did that with $0 marketing spent because I had the email list. So once you have that, it's just the follow-up. It's just doing the follow-up. What's great about Fiverr, you can get anything there though too. And don't just think about this. I mean, if you want somebody that you want to help with your social media, you can get somebody on there that'll help. You can just punch in real estate person help. Matter of fact, y'all, I don't know if y'all know this because y'all know I just try everything. You can get people in India to do, for $5. So, I mean, literally they'll dance for you and say, so let me just kind of show you an example of this. So I'm not going to show this whole thing. I don't want to show y'all the whole thing here, but my man is getting. So this is like in a forest in India somewhere. And he's like just getting it. I asked him to do it this way just to prove a point, okay? This cost me $5, y'all. You got to understand this. My man.
I want to do this for $5 today.
So listen, I want all of y'all to send me your $5, shout out from the forest. Yeah, the $5 Fiverr, shout out from the depths of India. So anyway, you can get any. I did that to be funny, but listen, guys, you can get whatever you need on Fiverr. So if you need a logo, if you need a bumper for a video, if you want a logo fade out, $5 you can get all this stuff that you can do. Okay. So what I want you to do is make sure you use Fiverr in the right way. Don't get caught up because I'm just going to tell y'all. You know me. I mean, I got bogged down. I had somebody in Paris at the Eiffel Tower shouting out to me. I mean, it's for $5, everything. You do whatever you want.
Can you email me this video?
I'll send it to you. Yes. So because I just showed you the first. There's a whole. So anyway, I don't want to get sidetracked, y'all. You can get sidetracked, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. So you can get all this done. So now let me tell you how to do this. Okay. Get back. I'm back. So MailChimp is free. All of y'all familiar with MailChimp? MailChimp is an email place that you can upload, your email addresses. So you go on Fiverr, you get your email addresses, or even better, if you own in a neighborhood, call and ask the HOA for the contact list. You can get it. Call somebody that you sold to in a condo or in a house and ask them, hey, do y'all happen to have a contact list? They'll get it for you. You can get this without going, but if you had to go buy it, you can, okay? Now listen, I'm not telling you to spam people. That's illegal, okay? What I'm telling you to do is add value to people. I did not have one complaint in 18 months sending those emails to people. And so over that time, I just kept adding value. And listen, as we all know, this world works. What you put out is coming back to you, okay? So just add value. Do one a month. All of a sudden, at the end of 12 months, you're going to have 12 of these places that are costing you $0 that you're the expert in. That's just going to be an ATM. So every time you send, just about, if you think about that, 18 months, I sold 6, I listed 7 because I knew the price point was going to sell. So I'm in here. I've got another one listing now. So I'm going to have 8 listings in 18 months, and it's going to be basically just one every 3 months. I'm getting a paycheck. Imagine if you had 10 of those. You got your business. And as we know, in this business, if you've got the listings, you don't have to worry about buyers. If you've got the listings, the buyers will come, okay? So we want to focus on doing those things. So let me just kind of circle back to this. You're going to use MailChimp for this, free. Use Loom.com is free to record your screen and send those video updates, okay? You don't even have to. You can do it where you just bullet point, active, pending, sold. You can do it that way. Just bullet point those. And if any of y'all want examples of what I've done, I'll be glad to send that to you and the responses. Here's what's crazy is, I get home in the evenings, all the postcards that people send me for properties, I sit by and I just rip them and throw them in the garbage. I just rip it. That's what everybody else is doing. On these, I was showing, we looked at this last week. I had 72% open rate on these emails because I'm very specific on what my tagline is. So when I'm sending this and it comes to them and it says Beechwood Villas sales update for October 1st. They're going to open that as an owner that's not here. That's information they want. There's value in that. So I just kept adding value. So you're going to use Loom. You're going to use the MailChimp. And then you're just going to send them quarterly or monthly updates on what the activity level is in that neighborhood. Again, I'll be glad to get these to you. I'm telling y'all, this is another situation where I did this for 18 months and got 6 listings. This works, okay? This is completely different than what anybody else is doing out there right now also. And you're reaching at a place when you're sending this to them, they can consume it when they want to consume it. So if it's a video and they get it at the house, they can read the data, but if they want to watch the video, they can click it when they get home. You'll begin to see it. On MailChimp, it tells you how many times somebody opens them. So, you can sit there and if you see this guy's opened it 12 times in the last 2 days since it went out, that's probably somebody you ought to call, and check in with, okay? So, that's kind of gives you an idea. So, let me just kind of recap this, okay? Number 1, unsolicited video CMAs. We're heading into the 4th quarter. Now's the time to be putting these together, getting these out, preparing your list of people. Start setting a calendar for daily who you're going to send those to. Going to Zillow on the Make Me Move and using the rentals to identify potential sellers and maybe potential investor buyers also on there. Then number 3 is kind of that little twist on expireds. 6 month to 3-year-olds, do the research. That group has raised their hand and said they would sell. The price wasn't right when they tried it before. Odds are it is now. And then 4, circle prospecting. Use that letter I showed you, follow up with calls. And if it's a neighborhood where it's primary residence, go do door knocking. Go walk around and pass the flyer out on it, on the sales flyer. Get out there and meet those people. And then digital farming, finding your neighborhoods. Instead of spending $1,000 per mailer, start getting the email list together, start adding value to people, and it just begins to just continues to grow and to grow. Does it all make sense?
Mhm.
All right.